Indiana basketball gets routed by Iowa at home inside of Assembly Hall, and the season right now is in serious trouble.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day and the nation's #1 sports podcasting network. This is a live edition of Locked On Hoosiers following Indiana basketball's just sad loss to Iowa at home, 74-57 final score. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about why it happened, how it happened, and what the heck is going to happen moving forward for this Indiana team, because the season right now is in serious trouble. We'll also do likes and dislikes at the end of the show. So come on in, be a part of it. Drop your thoughts in the YouTube comments. I appreciate you being here on this Saturday afternoon. And I'm sorry you had to watch that on a Saturday afternoon. If you took the 2 hours it was required to watch that game, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm sorry you chose to do that on your Saturday afternoon. So did I. And here we are. And now we get to rant about it for a little bit. 74-57 final score. Indiana welcomes in Iowa, a game that I thought Indiana had a good chance to win. I thought Indiana had a good chance to build a little momentum, right? Coming in with a losing streak, trying to get off of that, especially with some tough games coming up, which don't worry, we're going to get to that as well. And you just look bad. I mean, you looked horrible in this game, and so much of it is because of what Iowa did, right? Iowa, I have to admit here at the start of the show, Iowa's defense is much better than I thought it was. I've watched them play several games this year. I dove into some of the numbers, and I just didn't think they had the defensive effort up to this game that they played with today. And maybe they have, and I've just missed it, but they deserve a ton of credit for how they played inside of Assembly Hall. They came ready to go, and Ben McCollum was ready for this game, had a little extra juice taken on Indiana inside of Assembly Hall. Funny how all that works out, right? It sucks that not only do you lose, but you lose to a guy who was in the running for the head coaching job when Indiana had an opening, right? We talked a whole lot about Ben McCollum and how good of a coach he was and how that didn't work out. And Indiana, of course, hires Darian DeVries. But 74-57, Iowa just suffocates the Hoosiers with their defense. And then on the flip side of the floor, Indiana's defense didn't know what to do. They didn't play terrible. They just couldn't get a stop. And they played for 19, 22, 24 seconds of the shot clock every single time. Man, Iowa had a game plan and stuck with it. Iowa had a game plan and stuck with it for 40 minutes and made Indiana look like a JV team today. Sad performance for Indiana. 13 from Sam Alexis, Tatum Connerway with 16, most of those coming in the first half. Of course, he rolled his ankle, ended up coming back in that second half. But those are the only two scores you had in double digits today. Folks, you scored 57 points in a 40-minute P5D1 basketball game. 57 points. 28 in the first half, 29 in the second half. And Iowa with a comfortable, make it look easy type of win against Indiana on a Saturday afternoon. 16 from Connerway, 13 from Alexis. Lamar Wilkerson let you down today. Tucker DeVries let you down again today. Trent Sisley was in foul trouble the whole time, but you're not relying on him anyways. Reed Bailey, disappointing. Connor Enright, just stop shooting the basketball. And other than that, you just don't have anybody. You have nothing on this team. You have no options on this team on the offensive end of the floor. There is simply nothing there for this Indiana squad. If it's not Lamar Wilkerson, you can just wrap it up. Just go ahead and wave the white flag at halftime because you weren't going to win this game. You trailed the whole way, start to finish. You were losing this game, and you got it close one time. You trailed by 10 at the half. You somehow got it to be within 4 early in the second half, and you end up losing this thing by 17 points. I've used the word embarrassing several times. We're not even there. We're past that. We're past that with this Indiana basketball team, genuinely. 74-57 final score. I see a bunch of your comments. We'll get to those in just a little bit. I don't know what's more disappointing. Is it Indiana's poor offense or the fact that you can't stop the best players on the other team? Bennett Stirtz is a dude. That guy is a heck of a ball player. And I talked about it in our preview, I think on yesterday's full episode of Locked On Hoosiers in our third segment, talking about this game. I said, if you stop Bennett Stirtz, you're going to win. But guess what? You didn't. You let Bennett Stirtz go off for 27 points inside of Assembly Hall. 27 points for an opposing guard with 3 rebounds and 5 assists as well. He torched you in every single way, shooting it from the three-point line, getting to the free throw line, getting layups, hitting mid-range jumpers. Bennett Stirtz ate you alive. You also gave up 26 to Banks, who's a pretty darn good player too that I was not overly aware of. 26 points, 8 boards as well. Those two guys alone beat you today. 26 from Banks, 27 from Stirtz. They beat you today. Nobody else on that team did anything. 6, 5, 3, and 7. That's it. You let 2 players beat you. 2 on 5, 2 on 6, 2 on 7, whatever. And Indiana just looks pitiful right now, man. Some of the team numbers here quickly. Indiana shoots at a miserable 38% from the floor. Iowa shot it at an even 50% on the road. That'll win you a lot of ball games. They go 7 of 19 from downtown does Iowa. Indiana goes 6 of 24. For a team that sucks at shooting threes, sometimes they're great and sometimes they're terrible. They sure do shoot a lot of them. You also, free throws were fine. Iowa goes 21 of 23 at the line on the road. I mean, that was a masterful road performance for the Iowa Hawkeyes today on all fronts. Both teams in single-digit turnovers, but I think that says something about Indiana's defense, not pressuring enough, not getting on the ball enough, not being active enough, right? You only force 8 turnovers against that Iowa team, and some of those were unforced for the Hawkeyes. You're not going to win that game. Rebounding was fine, right? We talked about that coming into this game, how rebounding should not be an over-glaring issue for Indiana in this matchup because Iowa doesn't have the historic bigs like they have, but you still lost the rebounding battle, so that's fun. Bench points were just non-existent. Again, both teams just don't have a whole lot of depth. Paint points were even at 28 apiece, but Iowa legitimately led the entire time. Indiana did not have a lead in this basketball game, not one time. Not once. Iowa led for almost 38 of the 40 minutes of the game. That's bad. That's so bad for Indiana. The effort is not there. The energy is not there. Folks, you got booed off your own floor at halftime. Halftime. You got booed off the floor down by 10 going into the locker room. In a game that you needed for the season. You needed this game if you wanted to do anything the rest of 2026. And you couldn't even get this done. You can't win this game at home on a Saturday afternoon against a bubble team like Iowa. Man, how are you going to beat Purdue? How are you going to beat Michigan? How are you going to beat UCLA and USC on the road? We'll go through the schedule in a minute, but how are you going to beat those teams? Here's the simple answer. You're not. You're not going to do it. And look, I understand the idea that Indiana's team is what they are. They are who they are, and you got who you got. You're not adding any new players. I know other teams have done it through, European basketball and crap like that, but you are not getting any new players. You're not getting any better players. You are who you are. So what has to happen right now is Darian DeVries and this staff has got to lock in and get the most out of their players, and they're simply not doing that. That's what's frustrating. Because do I think from top to bottom that Iowa roster is better than Indiana's? No, I don't. I think Indiana is a more talented roster than them. You're just not getting the best out of your players. Reed Bailey's non-existent. Non-existent. Guy can't even make a layup inside the restricted arc. You're getting nothing from him, and you're getting nothing from your bench. Trent Sisley didn't do anything today. Nick Doran didn't do anything today. Tayton Conaway disappeared in the second half after finally getting downhill like I've begged him to do all year. And you can see when Lamar Wilkerson doesn't drop 25, this team struggles to win. That's on coaching to me. In my opinion, that is on coaching. The fact that Indiana is not getting the most out of its players. I don't know if that's a rotation problem. I don't know if it's an attitude problem. I don't know if it's just a mental problem, like a mentality problem. I don't know. I think all of that can be true. But Indiana's in a bad spot right now. You're on a losing streak. The positivity is just shot. And now you just got run out of your own gym against a middle-of-the-pack Iowa team. I don't know, man. It's concerning to me because Indiana's schedule does not get any easier. Hoosiers fall to the Hawkeyes 74-57. We'll talk more about it. We'll do a quick likes and dislikes segment when we come back. Plus, look at the remaining schedule because if you don't figure it out now, you may not figure it out the rest of the way. That's coming up next here on the live edition of Locked On Hoosiers. Today's live episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff is here. The national championship game is here, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get in on the action every single game day of the playoffs. Because right now, every college football playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Here's what I love about it. You get to use the profit boost on bets that you already feel good about. So you can take the Indiana Hoosiers on Monday night against the Miami Hurricanes if you want to. Maybe you like the total for the game. Maybe you like a first half versus second half bet. Whatever you want to do, FanDuel has profit boost for you to use on the bets that you already like. So you can get even bigger winnings while you watch Indiana in the Natty. FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoffs long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boosts today. All right, we're back on this live edition of Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here again, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. And a quick reminder for those of you who are either watching live or going back and watching or listening later on in the day or the weekend or whatever the case may be. We have our Locked On Hoosiers Everydayer Club going on right now, and you can be a part of that. All right, we got so much cool stuff going on there, something that you really want to be a part of. It's $5 a month. Okay, and for those of you who maybe are tired of the ads or don't want to hear those or see those or whatever the case may be, you can get the show on audio versions ad-free for $5 a month. So if you're watching or listening every day and you want to go that route, you can certainly do so for just a cup of coffee every single month. Plus, we have our Discord server. It's a big group chat is what it is. We're in there hanging out, posting questions, talking during the games. You can be in there as well, talking with other Hoosier fans during all the sporting events in our Discord server. Plus, we've got links for special merch and things like that. So be sure you check that out. Okay, we'll have the link for you in our description after the show today, or you can search in your browser lockedonhoosiers.supercast.com. That's lockedonhoosiers.supercast.com to check out our Locked On Hoosiers Everydayer Club. And we continue talking Indiana basketball, falling at home to the Iowa Hawkeyes 74-57. And I mention the schedule, right? Because if you don't figure it out now, you're in dangerous territory. And that is the case, right? That's the case. Indiana now on a 3-game losing streak, right? The 3-game losing streak. You are now, what are you? You are now 3-4 in Big Ten play. 3-4 in Big Ten play is what the Hoosiers are right now. And there are certain benchmarks on the Big Ten calendar, or really just the college basketball calendar, where you can kind of see what a basketball team is going to be. I am a firm believer, okay, in all sports, but especially college basketball. I'm a firm believer that a team you see in November and December is not normally the team you're going to see in February and March. Whether that's a great team early and a bad team late, a bad team early or a great team late, or a team that just kind of goes through the ups and downs and progressively gets better as the season goes on. That's kind of what you want, right? You want to see some sparks. You want to see some excitement early, but you want to see your team get better when conference play comes around. I believe that is such a crucial thing in college basketball. Here's the problem. Indiana's the same team they have been since day one. Since the season opener against Alabama A&M, Indiana's the same exact team. I don't think we've gotten any better. I don't think we've gotten any worse. I think we are who we are. And there's also a point in the college basketball season that statement I just said becomes true. There's a point in the season where you stop improving. You stop getting better for middle of the pack to below average teams. That point is about end of January, early February, maybe into mid-February, maybe. That's the range. That 2 to 3 week period is where a team has to decide, consciously and subconsciously, okay, we're better than this, or maybe we're just not. And I fear that in year one with Darian DeVries, this team has already hit that point, and they're really about to get hit with it in the face over the next couple of weeks and realizing that they're just not that good. We're not that good. And I think you can still win some games. I think the Hoosiers, we have a chance to make some noise, but we're not seeing anything different. We're seeing bad shot making. We're seeing poor offensive play. We're seeing lazy defense. And we're seeing mentalities go through the floor. That has not changed since you took your first couple of losses of the season against Minnesota, Louisville, and Kentucky. Nothing has changed since those games. And I fear that we're approaching that kind of a deadline there, that this Indiana team is what it is, and we're just going to have to buckle up and be a part of the ride. But here's the problem. Before we get into a quick likes and dislikes and wrap up the show, your schedule the rest of the way, man, is brutal. I can find a way to tell you that Indiana loses every single one of these games. You ready for this? You go on the road to Michigan on Tuesday. You ain't winning that game. You then go on the road to Rutgers on Friday night. Rutgers is terrible. They were getting blown up by Wisconsin last time I looked today. But guess what? That's away from Assembly Hall, where the Hoosiers have been horrific. You then come back home and welcome in Purdue, who's a top 5 team in college basketball. You will get railed by 30. You then get on a plane and go spend the week on the West Coast and take on UCLA and USC, who are not great basketball teams, but they're better than you. And it's away from Assembly Hall, which means Indiana will not play well. You then come back against Wisconsin, who I think is a pretty solid team. Again, just blew out Rutgers. They have probably a pretty good chance to beat you. You host Oregon, who isn't good by any means. They were under 500 the last time I looked, but who knows? Maybe you'll sneak out a win there. You then take back-to-back road trips to top 15 Illinois and top 5 Purdue. You're not winning those. You then get to host Northwestern, where Martinelli is going to eat you alive. You then host Michigan State in the rematch, and I'm sure that won't go well. Maybe you'll squeak out a win at home against Minnesota, but by the way, they already beat you. And then you go on the road to Columbus and Ohio State, where Bruce Thornton will have 40. Sound about right? Sounds about right to me, unless things change. And here's the problem. It's not just one thing. It's not just one thing. If it was just, all right, this team can't rebound very well. All right, well, let's find ways to go over that. Let's find ways to get around that. Well, this team doesn't shoot the ball very well from deep. Okay, let's work the offense inside and not worry about that. This team struggles to defend. Okay, let's worry about getting a stop here and there and converting at a higher rate on the offensive end of the floor. Problem is, Indiana has about a dozen problems, and I just don't know how you fix all of them to make this season successful. So, likes and dislikes for Indiana and Iowa. Again, final score, Hoosiers fall 74-57. Drop your thoughts in the YouTube comments. I see a lot of you in here. So Charles says, I don't think I want to watch this team anymore. Don't give up on them, but it just it's ugly to watch, man. It really, really is. Yeah, can someone tell me what offense we run? No, I can't. I can't tell you. Also, on the other end of the floor, my God, has Indiana never seen a screen on defense before? Like, Iowa just ran high pick and roll, high pick and roll, high pick and roll, off ball screen, high pick and roll. And Indiana was like, we don't know Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. And it just left Bennett Stirtz wide open for shots. Unbelievable, man. Okay. Again, likes and dislikes. Let me pull the box score back up so I can really dive into this. I kind of mentioned a lot of these kind of as we go, but for me, Sam Alexis played good. 28 minutes, 13 points, 8 rebounds for Sam Alexis. Sure. I've said all year he needs to play more. So that's a like for me. Tayton Conaway's aggression in the first half, getting downhill. Iowa just got out of his way most of the time. Dude had like an 8-0 run on his own. I like that. Hated to see him get banged up. Glad to see him come back. But the problem is, where did it go? It disappeared in the second half. Iowa didn't adjust. Iowa didn't do anything. Indiana just stopped. They stopped what was working. Lamar Wilkerson, dislike for me. He shot the ball poorly today. He was non-existent. We talked about Connor Enright, the guy that hit the side of the backboard on a corner three and then airballed another three. I understand he came back and made the next one, but he has returned to his offensive liability status. And we talk about him and praise his defense. He did the best he could, but he got burned today several times. Tucker DeVries, I mean, we've said what needs to be said there. He played 34 minutes and had 7 points and no other stat. Not a rebound, not an assist. Dude didn't even get a foul. That's pretty bad, if you ask me. Reed Bailey has been a huge disappointment, probably the biggest disappointment for me so far this season. You got Nick Dorn in there for a couple of minutes. He played 20, but he only shot the ball twice. That's a guy that needs to be shooting the basketball. You bring him in for size. You had to bring him in because Connor Enright got caught in foul trouble. But, I mean, other than that, right, I know you played Alexa Ristic, which was cool to see down the stretch. I know that Josiah Miles played for the first time since, like, Christmas or something. But those guys aren't going to give you anything right now. And other than that, you don't have the guys. So a dislike for me is the depth on this team. It's just not existent, man. A dislike for me is for Darian DeVries to not understand the good and the bad about his basketball team and not coaching in a way to put his guys in positions to win. Putting your guys in a position to win is getting Lamar Wilkerson as many shots as he can that are open and good looks. Getting your guys in position to win basketball games is getting the ball inside and working it out. Putting your guys in position to win is not playing dudes who simply don't want to be there. And I don't care if that's your son or not. Frankly, that's what I feel. Dislike for me was the fact that Indiana was even throwing 2 guys at Bennett Stirtz, and he still got 27. That dude's a baller, man. That dude is an absolute baller. Indiana today made 20 shots from the floor. Would you like to know how many of those came off a good pass from a teammate, also known as an assist? How about 9? 9 assists in a 40-minute basketball game. That's selfish. It's selfish. It's bad basketball. And that sums up this Indiana team. Sums it up. And then another dislike for me was just the, not lack of conditioning, but lack of aggression on the defensive end of the floor. Man, the entire second half, Iowa said, man, we're up by 10. We're going to limit possessions here. We're going to limit the amount of times Indiana touches the basketball, and they did a hell of a job at it. Because Indiana just had nothing. They defended for 25 seconds. Iowa made the shot half the time, and IU would look up. It's like, crap, there's only 12 minutes left. Crap, there's only 6 minutes left. All right, we're down by 20. It's under 4. Timeout. Wrap it up. Let's go home. Assembly hall empties like an ant out of the anthill, and it's over. Terrible game today. Terrible game. Indiana is a huge dislike in just about everything that they do. And I'm concerned about the roster. I'm concerned about the staff. I'm concerned about the head coach because there's just nothing happening here. And at some point, you've got to bring these guys off the bench. If they're healthy, play them. Nick Dorn, put him in the starting lineup. I don't know. Put Trent Sisley in the starting lineup. Move some guys around. Do something different, because what you're doing right now is not working at all against any other team that has a pulse. Iowa was that team today, and Indiana had no answers. So you're looking at an Indiana team that is not going to make the NCAA tournament. You're looking at an Indiana team that will most likely have a losing record in the Big Ten, and you're looking at an Indiana basketball team that will be completely forgotten if football takes care of business on Monday. So we'll end it right there. We'll end it again. Just so many things that Indiana's lacking here, and Tuesday is going to be a massacre. Oh, Tuesday is going to be terrible. Hoosiers on the road at Michigan Tuesday night. Oh, God. Yeah, we'll watch it. We'll be here. We'll do a live show about it. But, I don't. This is a good question, too. Are we going to do recruiting because it feels dead? Hoosiers are trying, definitely. But I have not. There's movement, sure, but there's nothing concrete right now. And I'll tell you what. Darian DeVries isn't doing himself any favors on the recruiting trail with the coaching job he's doing right now. I will say that flat out and be as honest as I can. So tell me a player in high school recruiting that looks at this team and says, I want to be a part of that. No, not at all. So we will be back on Tuesday night for another live episode of Locked On Hoosiers following Indiana basketball on the road at Michigan. We'll also be back on Monday for a normal episode of Locked On Hoosiers as we cross over with Alex Dono, the host of Locked On Canes, talking Indiana and Miami as we preview the national championship game on Monday night. And we'll be live here on Monday night as well, following the Natty, whether Indiana wins or whether Indiana loses. And so be sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you are following us on your audio podcasting platforms. Again, go check out our Locked On Hoosiers Everydayer Club, $5 a month. Type it in, no www, just lockedonhoosiers.supercast.com. I'll have the details and the link for you in the description below. And we are back on Monday for a normal episode, unless there's breaking news over the weekend. You never know in today's era. So all that coming up here on Locked On Hoosiers as Indiana falls to Iowa 74-57. Until next time, Hoosier fans, thank you for being here. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.